YouTube. I'm Doug with Forced Online, here to talk about the Wyze watch. You're probably familiar with Wyze, the company that makes the $20 IP cameras, the $40 pan tilt zoom cameras, and in a recent video of mine, I showed you the Wyze home monitoring solution. Today we're talking about the Wyze watch. It was a $20 watch. I think it's about $25 now with the recent price increase. But what kind of watch can you get for $25? Is it worth having? That's what we're going to look at. Well, starting off, let's go with a comparison of size on the 44 and the 47, and then the Apple Watch 44 millimeter. You see, they're all comparable in size and have about the same kind of style. Well, like the Apple Watch, the charging connector is magnetic, but unlike the Apple Watch, it is one direction only, so you can only apply it in one direction. And while it is connected magnetically, it's easy to knock off. And just with simple movements, trying to get the watch situated on the nightstand, you can easily knock that charging connector off. The watch does have an accelerometer, so you can perform the raise to wake function. You don't have to hit a button to actually see a display of the time. It's probably not fair to compare this thing to the Apple Watch over and over, but just for comparison, you can see the Apple Watch is slightly faster in its raise to wake detection, maybe a half second faster. Over time, you get used to either one, but the Apple Watch is a little faster, but again, the Apple Watch is substantially more expensive. The functions included with the watch include activity tracking, an oxygen sensor, heart rate sensor, sleep tracking, alarms, timers, actually Wyze macros, which are really handy if you have other Wyze products, and weather. Starting off here, we'll take a look at the activity tracker. Just as you would expect, it shows your time and distance and heart rate, calories and pace. There is no audible announcement of the pace, but it does a fine job of just tracking your exercise. After you've completed your exercise, there's a display of steps, calories, sort of a summary display. The watch also includes an oxygen level display. This is something that the current Apple Watches do have, but my old Series 4 Apple Watch does not have. So this is actually nice if you're using an older watch of another brand and you don't have that. This is a new feature you might enjoy. Being able to see your oxygen level is something that's been really important in the last year because of the pandemic. So definitely nice to have. Of course, all smartwatches have the heart rate feature. That's an expected function now. I did not notice any real differences in the heart rate data reported by the Wyze watch and the Apple Watch. They both seem to be equally accurate, so that's nice. And it's impressive, really, that such an inexpensive watch can compete with the more expensive devices out there and provide basically accurate information. The Wyze watch does include sleep tracking as well. And while it does provide a summary of the information of your last night's sleep, it does not allow you to go back and look at previous night's sleep on the watch itself, but you can see how you did last night. One feature I particularly liked was the Wyze Shortcuts feature. And this is handy if you have other Wyze products in your home. For example, I've got some Wyze bulbs in my entry hall. And for an example here, I can turn those lights on and off from the watch. So here you can see the entry hall is lit up. I'll bring up the Wyze Shortcuts option and turn those lights off directly from the watch. You can also turn them directly on or turn them back on directly from the watch. This assumes you have the Wyze app set up with the shortcuts in that app. The weather app display is pretty basic, but it does a nice job of presenting the current weather and a brief forecast for the next few days. The watch includes a variety of other features like the timer that lets you, set a countdown timer. It includes a sort of a summary screen where you can see battery level. You can set things like do not disturb. You can see the brief weather forecast at the top there. You can also find your phone. If you've misplaced your phone, you can ring the phone directly from the watch. So if you're like me and you misplace things all the time, that's handy. The watch does support multiple watch faces, only 3 of which can be stored in the watch at a time, but you can pick from a wide variety of faces on the app, and you can also create your own with photos that you may already have. Notifications from your phone are displayed on the watch, and this is handy if you're in a meeting or someplace where you can't pull out your phone. You can just glance at your watch and see what that most recent message or text or notification was. Very handy. The watch has 3 brightness levels, sort of a low, medium, high choice. And even on the highest brightness level, it can be difficult to see in bright sunlight. Generally, it works well, but in the brightest light, you may have difficulty reading it. One interesting thing that I noticed was that the 44 and the 47 millimeter models have different graphics on the interface. The 44 millimeter version seems more polished, a little more professional. The 47 millimeter graphics seem a little more mundane and plain. Uh, they have exactly the same functionality, but the interface is a little more polished on the 44 than it is on the 47. Well, it's not fair to call it a con, but one thing about the display on the 47 millimeter watch really kind of drives me crazy. It's not symmetrical, it's asymmetrical. The chin at the bottom is larger than the chin at the top. And you don't really notice it when you have a black screen on the watch, but if you put a lighter color screen, then every time I look at it, it just kind of jumps out at me that the screen is not centered on the watch. It just drives me crazy. There is no calendar in the Wyze watch. It does track the current day, it'll display the current day's date on the screen, but unlike my Apple Watch, there is no option to display a full week or a full month calendar. And I find that very handy to have on the watch so you can check dates and you don't have to pull out your phone. Unfortunately, right now, there is no calendar on the Wyze watch. That's something that I'm hoping they will add in a future update. One issue I consistently had with the 47 millimeter that I didn't have with the 44 millimeter was that the touch screen would sometimes just not be responsive. Or if it was responding, it was delayed in responding so that things happened a half a second after you touched something. So it was confusing and difficult to use. So I don't know if that's a fix they can address in future versions of the firmware, but the 44 seems to work very smoothly most all the time. The 47 did have some periods where it stumbled and was difficult to use. Looking here at a web page for the Wyze Band, this is a different fitness tracker that Wyze sells, and it has a microphone. It is able to accept Alexa voice commands, and you can actually use that to get weather or news or any kind of information. That's very handy to have that microphone on the watch. On the band, the watch doesn't have a microphone, so you don't have any option to record voice memos or to do Alexa commands. It's an oversight that it seems like it would have been obvious to include. Since the band included this option, it would have been great to have it in the watch as well. I was surprised that there's no audible confirmation on the Wyze watch. When you set an alarm, it is strictly vibrate only. So if you set a timer, vibrate only. No hourly chimes, no sort of audible notification of any kind from the watch. It's always going to be quiet. It'll vibrate, but that's the only alert that you can get, and it seems like a speaker would be a big plus here. So is it an Apple Watch killer? No, not even close. 37, 38 times cheaper than an Apple Watch. So to be fair, there's no comparison. They're not in the same league, and they're not expected to be for the $20, $25 price. So who is it for? Kids. First smartwatch for kids, ideal. Elderly parents who want some basic smartwatch functions but don't have the savvy to master something more complicated, perfect for those kinds of folks. Maybe you want a watch to do gardening in, or manual labor, or something to knock around that you don't want to wear your Apple Watch. Perfect for those kinds of things. I use it when working on the car or working in the yard. You don't care if it gets beat up. You don't care if it gets lost because you don't have a huge investment in it. You don't care if it gets dinged or nicked. If you have a Wyze installation, if you have smart bulbs, smart switches, smart cameras, you can control those things directly from the watch. It's great for that. If you just need a backup watch, if you want some basic activity tracking, it's a great watch for the money. For $20, $25, it's probably the best value in smartwatch that you're going to find right now. It's not an Apple Watch killer. It's not expected to be. And of course, the price comparison shows the difference. If you're looking for a good value, a first smartwatch, a elderly parent, there's a ton of use cases like that make really good sense. Personally, I am keeping this watch. I'm keeping it as my backup. I don't wear it every day, but I do find it handy to have when my Apple Watch needs charging, or if I'm doing something where I just don't want to risk damaging my Apple Watch. It's perfect for those occasions. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope maybe that'll help you out. The 44 millimeter apparently is on back order still. You can't get those right now, but the 47 is available on Wyze's website. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or any suggestions or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to reply to those. If you found this video useful, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, 90% of my viewers are not subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, and the notification bell will let you be alerted when I post a new video. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.